Okay, so I'm just going to briefly introduce Dr. Bem to us. Briefly, I'm just going to read his bio. Okay, just a sec. All right, so Dr. Bem is a seasoned veterinarian and dairy expert with over 10 years of experience in delivering animal health care, breeding, and livestock farming solutions. Over the last decade, he has worked with prominent players in the dairy industry, including Promasidor, which are the producers of Cowbell, Loya, Mixi, Twisco, and Cremella milk. Dr. Akuve is currently serving as a farm veterinarian at Takol Integrated Dairy Farm, a rapidly growing dairy farm in Ogun State, Nigeria, leading in innovative and precision livestock farming technologies. With his passion for dairy medicine and innovative agricultural solutions, Dr. Akuve continues to make significant contributions to the livestock industry in Nigeria by way of educating the public on sustainable, innovative, and profitable dairy farming. So please let's put our hands together for Dr. Bem David Akuve. Welcome, sir. The floor is yours. Please let's
Thank you
clap for
very
him. Digital clap
and
since we cannot. Thank you, everyone. All right.
thank you very much, Vivian, for that resounding introduction. Whenever you introduce me, I look forward to welcome that special dignitary, and I realize I'm the one being introduced. So it's my pleasure, and I thank you very much. Okay, without wasting much time, let me welcome everyone to today's edition of the Vet Connect Dairy Show. Good evening, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about quality milk production, the journey of quality milk production, and we have decided to title today's theme as From Grass to Glass. This is to explain the entire process of milk production from the very beginning up to the point of consumption by individual, by the public. So I remember your humble host, Dr. Bem David Akuve. So let's get to business. By way of introduction, we know milk is food and milk is complete food, meaning milk is balanced diet. And that is the reason without any problems. And in human beings, we have a program called Baby Friendly. This guy, this guy, this guy. Stop. Not you. Are we together?
Yes, we are.
Hello?
We are.
Okay. Sorry for that brief interruption. So, milk, as we know, is complete food and a balanced diet, and life can be sustained on it completely. So, as a result, milk has to be of good and high quality so that its purpose can be fulfilled. So, for us to have high quality milk, the animals producing the milk need to be in perfect condition in their health and in their nutrition so that they can also transmit that quality to the consumers. So today's focus will be on the best practices in feeding our cows so that they can produce quality milk. And these practices will include the milking process, the milk hygiene, handling of milk, and then the nutrition of the cows, how you feed the cows, and how it affects the milk quality, the health condition of the cows, particularly the udder health of the cows and how it affects milk quality, cold chain and storage tips for farm fresh milk. Because when you produce your milk, you need to store it before you can transport it and process it for wholesome consumption. So, for feeding, in feeding your cows, cows being herbivores, they thrive on forage. And what are these forages? High quality grasses, which could be planted or naturally grazed, naturally grown. And examples of such grasses include Napier grass, Brachiaria grass, Rhodes grass. For smallholder dairy farmers, particularly the pastoralists, they go out in a transhumance form, in a nomadic form, grazing about like scavenging. That may not give you the best quality of milk, but that is what they have, and that is what they can make do with. So if you have land for grazing and you are a smallholder farmer, you can graze your cows on natural grass. All you need to do is when they get back home, you supplement it with vitamins, minerals, salt licks or blocks, and then some concentrates to improve the quality of their milk production. For commercial dairy farmers or smallholder commercial dairy farmers, they can have have your silage. What is silage? Silage is either grass that has been harvested and ensiled, processed and ensiled, preserved under anaerobic fermentative conditions to preserve the quality of the grass over time. And in place of grass, forage, high quality forage like maize, sorghum, other grains can be grown, particularly maize, sorghum, wheat, all this barley. They can be grown, harvested in whole, chopped into smaller particles and ensiled. How do you carry out silage? You either dig the floor, dig the ground, pad the floor, put all the chopped forage inside, cover it with a polythene or a waterproof material, and not allow air or water go in. So you keep it there, you prepare it, you can add some molasses, you can add some urea, or you can just put it like that and close it. As far as there's anaerobic condition in there, the fermentation process will begin. And in 2 weeks to 21 days, your silage is ready. You can start feeding your cows with it. But you have to be very careful when preparing that not to allow molds inside, not to allow little pockets of air. So you don't create aerobic fermentation, which can give room for some aerobic bacteria that would either destroy the silage or create some toxins, which will in turn become harmful to your animals. So high quality silage is very important. Also, hay. Hay is simply dry grass. You can chop grasses during the rainy season and dry them and stuff as feed for your cows in the dry season so you don't run out of feed. It's also very important, and it's a very good source of dry matter and fiber for your animals. Any of these grasses can still serve as hay. High quality concentrates, which is rich in vitamins and minerals such as calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, selenium, and your vitamin B complex. I earlier mentioned the concentrates. The concentrates are like the boosters, like the milk producing boosters in the feed. So while you feed your cows, it's good you give them high quality concentrates to boost the production. The fiber and forage would go to a very large extent because that's what you need in quality, in quantity. A cow needs about 3% of its total body weight in dry matter when feeding on a daily basis, for in terms of dry matter, fiber, and forage. Concentrates, you might need just around 10 kgs, between 8, 10, 15 kgs in order to balance so that the animal does not only feed on only dry matter, it feeds on also high quality nutritive concentrates too. And this is to replace all the minerals that the animal is giving out in the milk, because milk contains high levels of vitamins and minerals, and you don't have that in the grass, you don't have that in the forage. So you need to replace them in your concentrates as you feed the cows. The cows require high level of energy and protein because milk is very rich in protein and fat as well. And fat is also a source of energy which does not appear from anywhere other than from the cows. You don't let your cows produce milk from their fat and energy reserves in their body. They produce from the nutrition you give them. Whatever they put in their body is for their body maintenance and for their own health. But if your nutrition is poor and they have to start deploying this raw materials from their stored body, from their storage in their body, then you're going to be having negative energy balance, and that would prone your animal to what we call ketosis. If it is in terms of mineral shortage, like calcium, for instance, you're going to have a negative calcium balance, and your animal is going to go down with hypocalcemia, which can prone the animal to what we call milk fever. So a balanced ration is very, very important, that you feed your cows so that they can give you high quality milk. Dry matter intake, I already mentioned that cow needs to take about 3% of its total body weight. So if you have a cow, let's say 100 kg cow, for instance, it means the cow is going to take 3 kgs of dry matter. If you have a 500 kg cow, it means the animal is going to take about 15 kg of dry matter. Your dry matter now is not the total food the animal eats. It is the total dry matter contained in all the food that the animal eats. So a cow can eat up to 30 kg of food in a day, and in that, when you take the dry matter out of it, if you take out the moisture, it should it should correspond to 3% of the animal's total body weight. Otherwise, you're going to be having negative energy balance and you're going to have poor digestion. Water intake for a cow. A milking cow does not drink water rational, like in a ration. There is no ration for water. A milking cow should get water whenever she wants to drink water. Whenever she feels like drinking water and goes to the watering point, there must be water. Otherwise, they also have their their feelings, they have their moods, they have their behaviors. The moment there's no water, she begins to deploy water from other parts of her body to produce milk, and that is already causing a loss in body weight, body mass, and also a negative hydrative balance in the body. She might get dehydrated and it causes problem. That prones to more stress. Generally, the physiology is already altered. And once the physiology is altered, there's a problem. Dry cow and steam up cow nutrition. Dry cows are a special group of cows. These are expectant, these are cows that are not milking, and mostly, we expect that our dry cows should be expectant mothers, cows waiting to calve. So for a cow that is actively in milking, we expect that she milks for around 7 months and she is taking off milking to rest for 2 months depending when she calves, because the gestation period of a cow is 9 months. So from the day the cow calves down to 7 months, she continues to milk, and at the end of 7 months, she's taken out of milking and prepared against the next milking season, all things being equal. And by all things being equal, I mean if the cow is confirmed pregnant and the pregnancy is at 7 months of age. So the cow gets dried off and put on a separate diet, which is not a high energy diet because you don't want your dry cow to continue producing milk. So you don't place them on high energy but high fiber diet. But when it's around 1 month to calving, you resume with high quality, high protein diet, moderate energy, high protein diet to prepare the cow for the next calving season, for the next milking season, and also for very good colostrum for the calf. So a cow with very good colostrum will definitely give you high quality milk. Next. The next is the udder health management and milk quality. As a matter of fact, this is where everything about milk quality lies. Like, this is the major component of milk quality. If you have a cow with a bad udder, you don't have milk. You don't even say you have bad milk. You don't have milk at all. So a cow with a bad udder is not producing milk. It's producing pus. I would call it pus. Now, how do you maintain a good cow udder health? First of all, hygiene is very, very important. The hygiene of the cow, the housing of the cow must be such that the beddings where the cows lie down are neat and dry and soft. So when the cow lies down, it is soothing, it is not crusty, it's not hard, it's not wet, it's not irritating. It is soothing, they are happy, and they lie down there happily to produce milk. So cow beddings must be soft, dry, and clean at all times to prevent mastitis and also lameness. Lameness is also one of the biggest problems in dairy farms and dairy cows in general, because when a cow's hoof is bad, she's in pain, she's in distress, she's not interested in walking any distance long enough. She doesn't go to eat, she doesn't go to drink. She spends more time lying down rather than eating and doing other activities. So the animal starts to depreciate and depreciate and depreciate until you either lose that cow or you spend so much money in treating, so much energy, time, money to treat, and then you lose a lot of milk too. Because a cow is giving you a certain amount of milk, once she's in distress, can't walk, can't eat, can't drink, production will definitely drop drastically. So bedding management is key. Your bedding material could be cow mattresses in advanced farms. They have cow mattresses which is easy for them to maintain, and but in normal farms it has to be sand, and preferably sharp sand, so the cows can lie down, stand up properly, without sustaining injuries on their knees and other parts of the body. In order to prevent mastitis also, you have to make sure that you monitor the milk and you monitor the udder. In the process of milking, you strip and check to see the quality of the milk that is coming out. If it's flaky or if it's looking funny or if it has some pus or blood or any kind of solid material, milk is supposed to be liquid in form and clear. So you check for milk quality by stripping the udder during milking. And also, if you're not too sure, which as a matter of routine preventive check, you can run you can run tests like the California mastitis test to check for subclinical mastitis, because mastitis must not manifest as clinical mastitis for you to know that it is present in your farm or in a cow. And mastitis can affect maybe one quarter of the udder, and the other quarters are okay. Out of the four quarters, there can be three good quarters and just one bad quarter. So if you routinely do a California mastitis test, which is a rapid test on the farm with a California mastitis test kit, it's very simple. You have the tray, and then you just strip in the four different quarters, put the reagent, and just shake a little bit. You see the quarter that reacts with the reagent, you know that, oh, the milk from this quarter is not so good. So you know, even though it's not presenting clinically, the milk looks clean with the naked eye, but something is already brewing in there. It helps you to tackle it early before it even becomes a clinical case. In advanced um, farms, they carry out what they call somatic cell count monitoring. The somatic cell count is like the number of white blood cells you find in the milk. So if you screen your cow milk, it's looking very good, clean, fine, but you find so much white blood cells, it means there's something going on, because the white blood cells are meant to fight infections and diseases. So when you see so much white blood cells in a particular in the milk, you know that there is something in this milk that these cells are trying to fight. So you tackle it earlier before it becomes a problem. So for clinical cases of mastitis, it's expected for you to treat them very, very quickly and promptly. And ideally, mastitis treatment should not last more than 3 to 5 days. Anything other than that, there's huge loss and there's huge damage. Also, for milk quality to be assured, cows that are under treatment of any sort, not necessarily mastitis, must be monitored and their milk kept away from human consumption. If you are supplying your milk to any company, make sure that your cows that are under treatment, whether the cow is having lameness or has a wound or anything, any form of treatment whatsoever, that milk should not be supplied for human consumption. So, the milking process. This is another area where milk quality be has to be ensured, because every milk coming out of the udder of a cow, of a healthy udder of a cow, is considered sterile and wholesome. Every milk coming out of the healthy udder of a healthy cow, is considered sterile and wholesome. But what happens as soon as the milk comes out of the udder, before it gets to the table of the consumer, is another thing that would determine whether the milk quality is good. So at the point of collection, milk could be good at the highest quality, but at the point of consumption, it could go bad due to several factors, one of which is milking and the milking process. So milk hygiene must be at its best. Now, in the milking process, when you want to ensure a wholesome milk, before milking, during milking, and after milking, there are procedures you must follow. The pre-milking procedure requires that the cow udder is cleaned. Sometimes you can wash and clean with water and dry with a very clean towel. Then you carry out what we call pre uh, uh, um, teeth dipping. So the pre-milking teeth dipping, using some chemical agents like iodine, or there are some commercial reagents like lactosan. You pre-dip and then you clean with a clean towel or clean tissue wipe, disposable tissue wipe. You don't repeat the same towel for more than one cow. So it's one cow per, one towel per cow. So after washing the other area, You dry it up, pre-dip, and then swipe. When you swipe with the towel or the tissue, it's expected that you would strip each of the quarter. Each teeth will be stripped. Get some drops of the milk on a flat, dark surface so that you can screen the milk and see if that milk is good, having flakes or some kind of solids or things you don't understand. That is the pre-milking process. Milking process requires, if you're using hand milking, if you're milking by hand, you wash your hand and disinfect it, either with soap and water or um, any other mild disinfectant. So you milk into clean buckets or clean containers, because the containers can also be sources of contamination. So you milk with your hand very rapidly, with less pressure and less trauma, so you don't create inflammation on the teeth and on the udder. When you're done, it's expected that you will wipe the, the udder again and then post dip with either the same chemical or a different chemical, depending on the protocol you are following. So the milking can be done by hand, like I've mentioned, or by machines. And by machines, there are different types of machines. Basically, two types: the mobile machines and the installed machines. Mobile machines are used mainly by small scale dairy farmers, while installed machines are used by large scale commercial dairy farmers in milk parlors. But large scale commercial dairy farmers could also use a combination of mobile and installed machines. For instance, the mobile machines can be designated for cows that have mastitis, whom you don't want to milk together with these other ones. You don't want to milk with these other ones. Maybe the cow has mastitis in one quarter or two quarters, and you don't want to bring her to the milk parlor. You exempt them and milk them separately. You milk the two good quarters separately and milk the bad quarters and discard the milk separately and disinfect your machine. So these are some of the um, processes you follow to ensure milk quality. Because if you bring a mastitic cow to the milk parlor, there's tendency that someone might forget that, oh, this cow is mastitic, and milk the bad milk in the bulk tank. And imagine if you have 5,000 liters of milk, 10,000 liters of milk in a bulk tank, and just one cow, bad milk just goes in. It contaminates everything. That's huge loss. So it's best you separate the mastitic cow and milk them separately, or you make sure that the milk is not put in the tank by any mistake whatsoever. Now, post milking, of course, I said you have to pre-dip, you have to post-dip after the milking. Post-dipping is applying the chemical, the disinfectant, to cover the teeth opening. That's the teeth canal. Because as soon as milking is done, the teeth canal is open. And if you leave it unprotected, any germ can just go in and mastitis would start brewing. So as soon as the milking cups go off, you post dip and cover, like sealing that entrance from any kind of germ. And if it is hand milking, you do the same. As soon as you're done, you just apply your iodine there so that it disinfects the place. Now, cleaning of your utensils and your milking machine, milking line, your tank, everything after milking. This is a post-milking procedure. After milking, you are expected to wash your machine, wash your utensils, wash your hands, wash your towels if you're going to reuse them, because milk is very, very rich in in nutrients. It's about the richest substance after blood, and bacteria are very, very happy to multiply inside. So anything that has to do with milk must be properly washed and disinfected. And for commercial lines or those using milking machines, you have to carry out what they call cleaning in place, CIP. It's very, very It's a serious procedure in quality assurance and quality control for milk, where the milking lines are washed thoroughly, sometimes two, three, four times, rinsed with water, cold rinse, hot rinse, and then use your chemicals like ethanol or hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid, as the case may be, all in the bid to kill any bacteria that is in the line anywhere, because you spare anyone, you're in trouble. So in order to also ensure milk quality, and all of this is done to ensure wholesome milk gets to the table for consumers. To ensure milk quality, this is normally done more by processors, milk processors, many of these milk tests that are being carried out. So tests are being carried out to ensure maximum quality, such as to ensure that there is no adulteration. They test for the purity of the milk to ensure nothing else is added to this milk apart from what it is supposed to be. The composition of the milk, that is to determine the total solids, which is mainly fats and protein, and then of course other vitamins, because that is where the business is. In advanced countries especially, the total solids in the milk is what determines the price of the milk. It's not about the volume of the milk, it's about the total solids contained in the milk. And some places they prefer higher fats to higher protein, while other places they prefer other higher protein to higher fat. So the price of milk will vary according to the preference of what they need more as total solids. The microbial safety is also tested. And then for antibiotics, cows that are being treated must be taken out of the milking herd. Ah, ah, I'm so sorry. 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 Ah, no, Nama they disturb. Oh God, man. Hello, are you there? Ai, hello, are we there?
Yes.
We are with you, sir.
Oh, I'm so sorry for that interruption. I left my system and traveled. I'm so sorry. So, so for some of the common milk tests that um, we carry out tests to find out the microbial content in the milk. That is one of the most common tests being carried out. For milk quality, every other thing can go, but microbes, because microbes are disease-causing agents, no company or processor wants microbes in their milk. Every other thing can be, taken care of, but for microbes, no. So one of the tests we carry out is Risazorin test. That checks, if you cannot check for the microbe itself, you check for the activity. If there are some kind of um,
Sorry, good evening once again, everyone. Sorry, I think Dr. Bem is having some network hitches. Let's just give him a few minutes to try to join back. Okay, for the meantime, okay. For the meantime, let's all type how we're enjoying the session in the comments. I'll be reading them out. I'll be reading them out. How are you enjoying this session? How are you finding the session? We need your feedback so we can do better. So please drop your comments in the chat box. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Sinin Antiev. Thank you so much. Very interesting presentation. Okay, Dr. Akuve is the best there is in the dairy space. Okay, thank you so much. Please keep your comments coming in. Thank you so much, Dr. Sinin. I'm glad you are enjoying the session. Okay. All right, Dr. Collins. Okay, thank you so much for this feedback. Dr. Collins says, being a dairy expert, the presentation has been well. I enjoyed it. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Collins. Thank you so much for the feedback. Thank you. So, Dr. Steven Biodun, this section was very educative. It's hot that I joined late. Don't worry, we're going to upload the the recording section. This is being recorded. We're going to update it on our YouTube channel. So when we do that, we'll drop the links and we'll share the links so that you'll be aware. Thank you so much. Keep the comments coming in. Okay, I just got off the call with Dr. Ben. He's trying to reconnect. So let's just give him a few more minutes. He's going to join us shortly. So let me check if there are chats here. Okay. All right. No one has dropped another chat yet. Okay, Abdulsalam Jide says educative. Thank you so much, Dr. Jide. Thank you for the feedback. Dr. Abimbola says it has been insightful. Thank you so much. We are really glad that all of us here are finding this, are a lot of getting a lot from it. So okay. So sorry, doctor, for the interruption. You're welcome back.
Sorry, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I lost my internet abruptly. Abruptly.
Oh, he dropped off again. Okay. Oh, he's still here.
Are we here? Are we together?
Yes, we are.
Okay. I'm trying to share my
Still
screen.
waiting.
Okay. Is this not your own showing?
Yeah. So you are in.
Where is the document?
Welcome back, Doc.
Yeah, sorry, I'm joining from a colleague's.
So I should stop sharing.
Stop sharing.
Okay.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can, but your voice is echoing. Maybe your phone and the PC is.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You're echoing.
Okay, it's okay now.
Okay. Next slide. Okay, we're at. Okay, next slide. Yeah, milk test and quality. That's where we were. Just to show. Okay. All right. Sorry for the break in transmission. I lost my network completely, and I have to join on a colleague's system here. So we were still talking about milk testing and quality control. So in order not to forget where we were, we'll start all over from milk testing and quality control. So the reasons why we carry out milk testing is to ensure the quality, absolute quality of milk. And there are certain parameters that are being tested for, one of which is the purity of the milk. We want to ensure that milk, the component of the milk, is not having anything other than what is expected. It should be pure 100% milk. The composition of the milk is basically water and the total solids. Milk is about 78% water, and the rest is the total solids. But the ratio of the total solids vary according to the breed of the animal, the quality of feed, and then the country or the area. So some milk have more fat than protein, while others have more protein than fat. For instance, a Jersey cow would always have more total fat than a Holstein Friesian cow. The Holstein Friesian is always going to have more protein than the fat. And this determines the prices of the milk in different regions. So another parameter that is being tested for is the microbial safety. You don't want microbes or any form of uh, uh, microorganism in your milk, bacteria especially. So you test for the microbial safety because these are disease-causing agents or potential disease-causing agents. You also check for antibiotic residues. You remember in our last slide, I mentioned that any animal that is being treated that is under any medication should not milk for human consumptions. That is because where we have antibiotics residues, which we refer to as antimicrobial residues now, there's tendency for a buildup within the human system and tissues in what we consume to later cause antimicrobial resistance, which is a big problem in medicine today. Also, adulteration of the milk. Some people, by way of trying to increase the volume of their milk, might want to add small water. So you produce 1 liter of milk and then you add 1 liter of water to make it 2 liters. That's fraud. So tests are being carried out to ensure that there is no adulteration of the water whatsoever. And for any reason, some people, some farms maybe who sell their milk could not dispose of their milk very quickly, and milk is not meant to be stored more than 3 days, even under the best cold condition. Some people want to add some kind of preservative, maybe formalin or ethanol or something else to preserve it for a longer time. So such adulterations are tested for, and definitely anybody found doing that will definitely be caught. But where you don't carry out all these milk quality and quality control tests, you are bound to carry adulterated milk into the market, process, and give the public to consume. And then there's one problem or the other in town. So we mentioned some of the milk tests, Research urine tests, alcohol test, which checks for the acidity, the total coliform count test. Coliforms are a form of microbes, mainly they are a group of microbes called coliforms, which are the major microbes of interest in milk quality testing because their rate of rapid multiplication is very high and their tendency to cause diseases such as E. coli, for instance, is tested for. So you know the total coliform count. You cannot eliminate them completely from milk, but you want them controlled within a tolerable number. So the total coliform count is going to determine the quality of the milk as well. The freezing point test. When you freeze milk, you don't expect milk to freeze at exactly the same temperature that water freezes. Water freezes at temperature, 0 degrees temperature. Milk should freeze at a higher temperature because it has some solids inside. But where you have milk freezing at water freezing point, you know that there is more water in this milk than expected. So there's possible adulteration of the milk with water. And then the milk density tests, like I mentioned before, is to test the total milk solids. If you total fats, you maybe have an expectation of between 3.8 to 4.5% of total fats, or for depending on the milk, the quality, the type of milk, if it's from a Jersey cow or mixed. You have a farm where you mix all the milk, of course, it becomes your total solids are going to vary. So the higher the fats or the higher the protein determines the quality of the milk. So coming to storage. Storage of milk is very, very key because milk is the most perishable food item in the world. Milk is the most perishable food item in the world. As soon as it leaves the udder, it starts to deteriorate. Immediately it leaves the udder, it starts to deteriorate. So in order to keep it within safe margins, safe safe, wholesome margins, you have to ensure that you store the milk under 4 degrees Celsius, or you transport it immediately to sites of processing, or where they can be stored and kept under 4 degrees Celsius, and a maximum of 8 degrees Celsius. A maximum of 8 degrees Celsius. That's to tell you, you need to chill your milk immediately after it leaves the udder. And if you're not chilling it immediately, it means you need to take it straight for pasteurization so that you can elongate the time it stays outside the udder of the cow. So cow milk is only safe when it's in the udder of the cow or when it's stored under 4 degrees Celsius. So after storage, you're not expected to keep milk for more than 3 days. 3 days is even the maximum. At 48 hours, the total bacterial counts have increased even under that 4 degrees Celsius, because we still have bacteria that are cryophilic. So even when you keep them under that temperature, it's like a struggle for survival. The bacteria don't want to die. They don't want to go extinct. They want to prove their worth and their might. So they continue to multiply, but controlled. Controlled. So once it's 72 hours, the milk is wasted. So you need to make sure you transport them to processing sites as quick as possible if you don't have a processing facility. How do you transport the milk? Transport them also under cold chain, or also under conditions that makes sure that the milk arrives the processing point still safe and wholesome. And at the point of arrival, you transfer the milk directly from whatever carrying container. Could be a tank, could be buckets, could be other containers. And as soon as they arrive, you move them in for processing or for further storage. But for milk that has stayed more than 2-3 days already before transportation, it's expected that as soon as it arrives, it's going in straight for pasteurization and further processing. And what is pasteurization? Pasteurization is a process where milk is subjected under heat, high temperature, to kill microbes. It's done mainly at 72 degrees Celsius for about 15 seconds. That is so that it kills the microbe, but it does not denature the protein in the milk, because protein is very, very volatile to heat. When you subject protein to heat, high temperature, it denatures and you do not have the quality that, the nutritional quality that it's supposed to give. And this is raw milk. This is raw milk. So as soon as you heat the milk up to 72 degrees Celsius, you allow it stay in that temperature for about 15 seconds, and then you allow it to cool down. Then you put it to a cooling tank. So your pasteurization process is complete. This is mainly for milk processors. And you can locally pasteurize. You can locally pasteurize. Our local people, they pasteurize, but at that point, you cannot properly monitor it. So most times we pasteurize milk by heating it until it boils, just like normal water. And you know, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. So you must have gone past your 72 degrees Celsius and gone very far. So at that point in time, whatever we get is what we consume. Our local farmers that do fura, the Fulanis, they also pasteurize their milk. They understand that science. Some of them don't know what is behind it, but they know that this is what you must do, because definitely some may have drank raw milk and it didn't go well. So from there, you move straight to your processing to whatever product, the value chain. That's where the money is, whether yogurt, ice cream, or you're separating the milk, the creamers from the actual milk, cheese, or fresh milk. Fresh milk, if you travel abroad, most of the milk we consume here in powder, you don't see it you don't see it in Europe, you don't see it in America. All their milk is consumed fresh in liquid form. So the purpose of having powdered milk is for long shelf life. Just dehydrate the milk, concentrate it into powder form, and then store them in cans and cartons and sachets. So for easy transportation. and it can also serve. And like I said, milk is very perishable. So when it's in the dry form, it's no longer very perishable. And then they can also add some preservatives. But it will interest you to know that most of the powdered milk we consume are not 100% milk. They are not 100% cow milk. There's some vegetable powder added to it and creamers to also increase the quantity. It's business, but they are edible and they are still good. So cooling and packaging, you have to ensure that when all this process, ensuring from the point of milk collection down to processing and everything, it's time for packaging. You don't package your product, your finished product, in a dirty container or in an infected container. So it must be done in aseptic conditions. Aseptic conditions like the containers, even the handling, everything has to be done in aseptic conditions. These containers could be cartons, plastic, glass bottles, or sachets. So at this point in time, your milk is ready to go into the market for consumption. And this is the point where your milk is either in your glass or in your plate, ready to go into your stomach for nourishment. So anything that does not nourish your body, anything you consume that doesn't nourish your body is not serving its purpose. And any milk you take that is causing you problem. Although some people have what they call lactose intolerance. So if you drink milk and your stomach is disturbing you, especially if you're an adult, don't conclude that it's bad milk. You could be lactose intolerant. But where it is causing persistent problems, you have to see a doctor. And if it's confirmed that you have food poisoning, then it means you have consumed bad milk. So thank you for your time. Thank you for listening, and thank you for all the, I'm sorry for all the hitches that happened during the lecture. Please, if there's any question, you can bring them forth. Thank you. Hello, are we together? Or have I been talking to myself? Are you sure audio is on my phone? Okay, yeah, sure. It's on my phone. Are we there?
Yes, sir, we're with you. Yes, sir,
We
we're
are
with you,
there.
sir. We're with you, sir.
Any questions, please?
Please, if you have a question, go ahead and unmute. You'll be able to unmute and speak. Thank you.
Okay. Sir, very well. You have exhausted your content, and it's a very, it's a very wonderful one. There's some things I didn't know, and I know now. So I will agree, sir. Thank you for your time. I just wanted to ask. I was curious. When milking, do we use, are there gloves for milking, like a particular gloves for milking, or you use your normal, like your hand, your bare hands?
Okay, is that all? Hello? Okay. Normally, if you're milking, if you're doing hand milking, it's expected that you use your bare hands. You wash your hands properly and use your bare hands. That's because with your bare hands, you can control how you squeeze the milk better. With gloves, there's tendency that your hand becomes slippery. Your hand becomes slippery and you can't control the part of your hand that touches the teeth and even the milk that is coming out. But if you're stripping with your milking with your bare hands, you have full control of how you control the teeth, how you squeeze it, and the friction is better with the squeezing and stripping down. But if you choose to wear gloves, you have to ensure that the glove itself is not a source of contamination because gloves themselves are coated Gloves are coated, especially inside. So while you're milking, you can sweat, and when you sweat, the powder within the gloves can drip down together with the sweat and contaminate the milk. But when you are using your bare hands, even when you sweat, the component of sweat is mainly salt and water. So it may not be too bad if your body is not so dirty. After all, the milk will still go through some processes of you know pasteurization and also purification. So it's best you milk without gloves, milk with your hands. Clean hands, very clean hands, well washed and disinfected. Thank you. Have I answered your question, sir? Hello? Are we together? No, I'm not muted. They are muted.
You can unmute and speak. If you want to say something, just raise your hand and I'll unmute you. That's
Okay.
if you can't unmute yourself.
Okay, let me see. I think there
Okay.
are messages. Please help me read those messages on the message box.
Okay. Yes, Dr. Bimbola, go ahead. I've unmuted you.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, I should
Yeah,
actually
good
drop
evening.
some questions. So,
Yes, go ahead, please. I'm listening.
Okay, yes, I initially dropped the test on the well, but I will ask the questions now. Okay, the first question I asked was that when like majority of the milk producers now in Nigeria are formal, like they are informal farmers, like all these Fulani and the likes. So, like, what do you
Yeah.
advise when we are getting milk from people like that? Maybe people are just getting the milk for consumption, and those informal farmers, they don't have any testing equipment for high bacterial counts and all that. So what do you advise? Because like I've seen several cases of adulteration, although I've not been chance to check okay bacterial count and all that, but I've seen first and adulteration cases, and I was like, even when they have a good amount of milk, they are still adulterating to boost how much they are getting from what they are selling. So, what do you advise from that? I asked three questions, but I want to know, should I ask them all at once or I
Yes,
should take
ask
one?
all at the same time.
Okay, so the second question I asked was that um what are the food safe preservatives that we can use for milk? You mentioned that preserving the milk it can be adulteration, and we I know some people that have I know some facilities that keep milk and all that, and the chances of losing money, keeping cows and all that is not something so cheap. The income should be so low because there's a lot of loss due to milk spoilage and all that. So are there food safe preservatives for, let me say, for either fresh milk or pasteurized milk? And then the regarding cleaning, you mentioned the cleansing and all that. Like for hand milking, I know that you can just use your detergents to wash your tubes and all that. But for people that are now, because I know some farmers are trying to get they're trying to get milking machine, maybe all those 1 unit and all that. So, like for small older farmers, what are the trusted brands that they can get for their milking washing equipment to wash all those holes and all that they can trust that okay, they are getting the real value for their money. So thank you so much, Doctor. I really appreciate this.
Okay. Um, First of all, let me address question of adulteration. There's absolutely nothing you as a non-scientific person can do about adulteration if you're just going to buy the milk for consumption. The best bet you can do is come home and pasteurize your milk, pray to your God, and consume it, and you are safe by the grace of God. It is only processing facilities that have those test kits and facilities that I mentioned here. Like, it's not even those processing facilities, there are some, because they don't want to waste too much time. They are only concerned about the bacterial uh, contamination of the milk. Every other contamination, they can deal with it, except if it is poisonous. Apart from poison, apart from chemical poisoning or any kind of poisoning, they are okay as long as the milk is not having too much bacteria that can cause them problems. Even with the even with the antimicrobial residues, it's difficult to just throw away milk because milk is scarce. That's one. Two, it's expensive. So by the time you've already bought the milk, at the point of buying, you can't test for antimicrobial residues until you take it to your facility. That's when you can test. At the point of buying, most facilities, especially milk collection centers, they just test for microbial cell counts. That's what they check. As long as the microbial cell count is low or within tolerable limits, they are good to go. Every other thing, they will deal with it. So that is that for adulteration. For storage of milk, storage of raw milk. Once you pasteurize your milk, you can put it in the fridge without any storage chemical or agent or food safety agent, food safety preservative for at least a week. But it has to be under good refrigeration, because anything after 1 week, the milk begins to there's what they call there's what they call chemical rancidity. The milk becomes rancid, and then of course that's bacterial activity already taking place, and biochemical processes are also taking place. The milk is no longer wholesome. You don't enjoy it even. So for preservation, fresh milk is not meant to be preserved with preservatives outside processing facilities. It is still processing facilities, except you want to go into maybe kitchen yogurt making and all of that. For that, I don't have a list of those preservatives. But if you want to do yogurt, any form of processing at all, you can approach a yogurt making factory or any milk processing factory to get to know the preservatives. I don't have the knowledge of preservatives at the moment. What I mentioned was about the preservatives they use, which is also part of adulteration. Like you said, for people that are keeping the milk to sell them, and then after some days they don't see a buyer to buy, you want to preserve it longer, it's adulteration. And it's so bad that the chemicals they are using are things like ethanol and formalin. So bad. It's that bad. You don't want to do that. So, and those are not preservatives. Those are contaminants, adulteration. Sorry, it seems like I missed the first question. I started answering from the back.
Okay, yes. The last question was about cleaning and all that. That's at
Okay,
the end.
the cleaning. Okay,
Yes.
the cleaning agents. Cleaning agents for your machines. Basically, you can use ethanol. Ethanol is the easiest one you can find. But you can also use hydrogen peroxide. You can also use hydrogen peroxide, dilute hydrogen peroxide. And then there are commercial agents in the market. You can use acids like hydrochloric acids, sulfuric acid. You can actually buy these things from chemical shops. If you go to all these chemical shops in the market, you can get hydrochloric acid, you can get sulfuric acid, you can even get nitric acids. So any of these corrosive acids can be used, but you have to dilute them. You need to do small research and learn how to use it. But the common one is ethanol and and uh, and uh, and um, um, uh, and what was this one? What was this one? Is hydrogen peroxide. Yes, you can use ethanol and hydrogen peroxide. The others are acids. Then there is the one they call superoxide. Superoxide is a product. Is I think it's a European product. It's a European product. And then you asked about milking machines, products of milking machines too.
No, I was asking on how to wash them for
Uh,
small order
these
farmers,
are the agents.
and I think that's the question you're answering at the moment.
These are the agents. Acids like sulfuric acid, nitric acid, hydrochloric acid. If you can find them, you can use them, but you need to learn how to use them. But the most common and affordable one is ethanol and hydrogen peroxide. And then the cleaning process has to be such that if you're using the mobile milking machine, immediately after milking, you have to rinse with cold water like twice, then use hot water and run it again like twice, then use your ethanol in water and run it again maybe like twice. You should be done. You should be okay with that.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Somebody already asked another question in the comment section.
Okay. Please read these questions out for me. Let me. Vivian, let me see the chat box. Okay, some processing facilities take milk with a slight positive alcohol test. Does it affect the shelf life at the final product? No, it does not. It does not affect it. The it depends on what they are processing the milk into. It depends on what they are processing the milk into. Every product has its shelf life. So if as a company you have a parameter, you have a threshold of every parameter you are testing for or what you want to achieve. If it meets your standards, then it means by your own company standards, you have already designed the shelf life for such products. If there's slight positive alcohol test and you say it's good enough for whatever product you are making, the company decides the shelf life of that product. If it is negative, and they feel a slight positive alcohol test and a negative test sample can also give you the result of what they want to produce, the company still has the right to decide the shelf life. But most dairy products shelf lives are not usually very long, especially if they are fresh in liquid form. Like yogurt, fresh milk in bottles, their shelf lives are not usually very long, maybe 3 months thereabout, or 6 months at best, most of them. Or they could have their own preservatives that keeps it longer, but the companies decide the shelf life of those products. Have I answered that question? Any other question in the chat box? None? Okay. Anyone? Okay, if there are no more questions, I think we are done. for today. Thank everyone for their time. Vivian,